Right, so I know the carbs themselves do need tuning, and that is the main issue with the bike at the moment, but just to make sure I've ticked all the boxes, I'm going to start the process of doing a full service. Everything will be done per the Ducati Haynes manual, which does cover this bike, as this is a 99 plate Ducati Monster M600 that's on the list. So we're going to start with the timing belts, as they are the most pressing issue, at least in the front of my mind, as the belts, according to Ducati, need to be changed at least every 5 years regardless of mileage, and these are the original 27-year-old belts. So slightly concerned. Also going to check hoses for things like vacuum leaks, but I thought I'd try and document my progress for when I inevitably find something that causes me distress. So yeah, let's give it a go. Okay, so having a go at the timing belts today. Looks like it's going to be slightly more complex, considering I have the camera recording gear attached to the bike, so that's partially in front of one of the belt covers. So if that would just turn enough to be out of range of that, that shouldn't be a problem. The next thing is you got to kind of pop this bike a bit like a car bonnet. It's a little unusual, but I'll show you what I mean. Set this back here. So you come around the back and pop the seat. Get that out of the way. First thing. And then the weird thing this bike does that not a lot of other bikes do is it does indeed pop up like a bonnet. So we get that up and grab your bonnet prop and prop her up. So Ducati says to be careful when doing this if the bike is over half full of petrol, but it does actually have a prop just like a bonnet, as you can see there, holding the tank up. Then you have this kind of like vibration mat cover thing, goes over the battery and the front of the airbox. So that can sit back there. It'll live back there for a minute. And yeah, now I can get to the top of this belt cover, which as you can see, it's very worn, very cracked, and I'm glad that that's underneath the tank, as that would be exposed to the elements. But luckily with this tank, it is all covered up, and the front one itself doesn't look too bad. But I think part of the reason that this might have cracked over time is because it is sealed next to that hot air-cooled cylinder. So, you know, it doesn't exactly get the best chance. I can already see some cracking on the hoses back there, so I imagine looking at all the hoses, it's going to be quite a job. On another note, I am looking forward to shrinking the battery by getting a smaller anti-gravity battery per my sponsor, as anti-gravity batteries have been fantastic with Pro 9 Adventures so far. So hopefully they're on board and we can put a small case battery in here, and I can house some of the other electronics underneath here where they'll be safe. But let's get started with pulling some bolts out. So getting these belt covers off is an absolute bollock, mainly because of these two oil lines, which, seeing as I'm not doing an oil change right now, I can't really take apart. I think they heat the carburetor, to my knowledge, but yeah, they're right in the way of getting this middle belt cover out. The other covers are down there with the corresponding bolts where they should be. But yeah, this is just proving to be difficult. At least with this off, you can see that little dot there next to those two teeth is the timing mark, and then the other timing mark is there. So take the spark plugs out, give them a roll, and I can at least take this belt off. So I think that one sits on top of the vertical belt. So yeah, fun. Yeah, so there's the timing mark at the bottom of that one, and the corresponding little nub there on the left. So, you know, some things are making sense. I can see one of the tensioners is going to be a pain because of where it is, and the other tensioner should be fine once I've got this cover off. Okay, so after struggling for pretty close to an hour just to get this middle piece out, it is definitely showing that a lot of stuff, a lot of debris is getting inside, and this particular part of the housing, if I get my hand up there, is cracked all the way through. Same with the top. You can see the tear? Yeah, you can see the tear just underneath the pulley. So, and we're looking at getting a nicer cover for this anyway. I want to do the Perspex cover. There's a CNC racing one that's got clear covers that you can put on, and I believe they replace the caps as well, because this needs replacing, and it's almost the same amount of money to replace it with standard as it is to replace the whole thing with a custom one. So that's what we're looking at doing. So next thing, somehow I'm going to try and rotate the engine into the right position when I can't get the rear wheel off the ground because I don't have a paddock stand. I put it in gear and physically try and push it with this, obviously with the spark plugs out, to, you know, get rid of all the compression. But yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm just very surprised. It did say in the manual that if this is shiny, it indicates extreme wear, and it did used to say Ducati there. Yeah, so extreme wear indeed, but so far no signs of them giving up on their own accord, which is remarkable considering. Yeah, well done. Okay, so there's a timing mark there where that dot is and where that stripe is on the metal case. There's one at the top here that matches the little nub at the top here. So there's one there, that little dot, and then this little nub that sticks out. Line up exactly the same setup on the left hand side of that pulley there. So that's all of that where that should be in terms of engine timing. So what we're going to do is I use paint pens quite a lot. They are not going to damage the belts, thankfully, so we can just get one of these out. Like that. So I don't know how much of that you can see, but I've marked the bottom, I've marked the actual bolt itself, the tensioner bolt, and then where the part of it moves to the right. I'll do the same with the vertical one now as well. So timing position 1, dot and nub, timing position 2, that line and that dot, timing position 3, that dot and that nub. So that's all the timing positions done. Just need to tighten the belts to where I have already marked them being tight. So that's the next thing. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to mark the timing marks using this yellow pen so that you guys can see when they line up, as it's not often illustrated that well if you're not looking at the book and or know what to look for at the same time. So we're going to mark it for you. Make sure to mark. As you can see there, the timing marks are still where they should be after a few rotations, which is exactly what we want, so we know that the teeth are in the right place. So you can see there that the pulley is slightly before the mark, that pulley is slightly before that mark, and that pulley is slightly before that mark. So they're all in time. I just haven't rolled it perfectly forwards enough, but still, proof of concept so you can see everything moving. And that is how you do your belts. Now getting the covers back in is anyone's game, so I might not film that bit because it's probably just going to be me swearing for the next hour and a half. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Stay safe, don't die. See you in the next video.